In old school Dungeons and Dragons, monsters aren't just there for combat. They're also there to teach players how to play the game. Today we're going to focus on Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 2nd Edition in the forest area, the wilderness. And I'm going to tell you what monsters you're going to need to use to teach your players how to survive in that area of the game. Let's start off with the famous owl bear. The owl bear teaches players how dangerous wilderness travel becomes when they stop treating the forest like a dungeon corridor. A smart DM uses signs of the owl bear before combat. Claw marks on trees, half-eaten animal corpses, smashed brush, deep tracks in mud, sudden silence from wildlife. Players that learn to pay attention to environmental clues begin surviving longer in wilderness campaigns. The owl bear also teaches movement discipline. In forest, visibility is limited. Parties that spread too far apart, allow weak characters into the rear, make excessive noises, travel carelessly at dusk, can suddenly get hit by a charging predator at close range. The important lesson is not that the owl bear is strong. The lesson is the wilderness gives warnings before danger arrives. Good players begin scouting ahead, slowing travel pace, checking terrain, watching for signs of predators, planning camps away from hunting grounds. That is wilderness gameplay. Okay, let's talk about the Ettercap. The Ettercap teaches players that forests have vertical danger, not just horizontal danger. Most inexperienced players only scan what is directly ahead of them on trails. Ettercaps punish this immediately because they hide above trails, use webs between trees, create kill zones in thick brush, attack from elevated positions. This changes player behavior. After encounters with Ettercaps, players begin looking into tree lines, checking branches, probing suspicious terrain, using poles or missiles to trigger hidden webs, burning dangerous areas before entering. The Ettercap also teaches the danger of restricted movement. Webbing in woodland terrain can separate the party, immobilize frontline fighters, trap spellcasters, prevent retreat. Players begin learning why marching orders matter. Spacing matters. Terrain matters. The monster teaches players to think tactically about travel itself instead of only combat. Giant spiders. Giant spiders teach players how camouflage and ambush actually work in wilderness environments. A giant spider does not need magical invisibility. Forest terrain already provides shadows, dense foliage, branches overhead, natural color blending, concealment from elevation. Players learn this the hard way when the spider attacks from above while everyone is watching the ground. This teaches players to scan vertically, use light carefully at night, avoid blindly walking beneath heavy branches. It teaches them to clear suspicious areas with ranged attacks and send stealthy scouts ahead. Poison also changes wilderness behavior. In dungeon adventures, players often think only about hit point loss. Wilderness poison encounters teaches healing resources are limited far from civilization. Getting paralyzed in the forest can become fatal. Unconscious characters are difficult to carry. Movement speed matters during retreat. After spider encounters, players begin preparing antidotes, fire, backup light resources, escape plans. The spider teaches preparation instead of reaction. Displacer Beast. The Displacer Beast teaches players how wilderness predators create confusion before killing prey. The forest already reduces visibility, communication, formation control. The Displacer Beast makes this worse through its displacement effect. Players begin missing attacks because they cannot accurately judge position, movement, distance. This creates panic in the forest terrain where line of sight is already poor. The monster teaches players not to break formation during confusion, not to chase targets recklessly in the woods, to protect weaker party members during disorder, and to maintain communication during combat. The creature is especially effective at night or near thick brush because players stop trusting what they think they see. It teaches caution during pursuit. Many wilderness deaths happen because parties chase enemies blindly into terrain they do not control. The Dryad. The Dryad teaches players that wilderness danger is not always physical. Most players entering the forest expect monsters, combat, ambushes. The Dryad changes that pace completely. Her charm abilities teach players the danger of isolation in wilderness travel. Characters pulled away from the party may become lost, walk into hazards, become separated during travel, disappear into deep woods. This forces players to think about staying together, communication, watching companions carefully, recognizing magical influence. The Dryad also teaches consequences for reckless wilderness behavior. Parties that burn forests carelessly, destroy natural areas, attack woodland creatures without thought, may create enemies they never expected. Players begin understanding forest as a living environment with factions, spirits, territorial creatures, social consequences. That is a major shift from dungeon-focused thinking. Finally, wolves and wargs. Wolves teach players how wilderness predators attack intelligently instead of running into their suicide. They don't do that at all. Wolves usually do not charge armored fighters directly. They test defenses, circle camps, attack isolated targets, strike during exhaustion, harass retreating groups. This teaches players why wilderness procedure matters. After wolf encounters, party begins setting guards properly, building secure camps, protecting mounts and supplies, keeping weaker characters protected, avoiding travel during dangerous hours. Wargs take this further because intelligence changes predator behavior completely. A warg pack may follow the party for days, attack during storms, strike when spells are depleted, lure players into terrain disadvantages. This teaches long-term wilderness pressure instead of single encounters. Players begin thinking about food, fatigue, visibility, weather, travel speed, escape routes. The wilderness stops feeling like empty space between adventures and starts feeling like the adventure itself. There are many monsters that you can use for wilderness gaming, that the players can encounter in the forest. But I promise you, DM, that the lineup of monsters I just talked about here will teach your players everything they need to know to survive in the wilderness. And that's what this video is all about. Helping you figure out how to help them. Now, of course, the first time is going to suck sometimes. You got to learn the hard way. But hey, if they got to learn the hard way, you should make sure that they learn. And if you put them in these encounters, they'll learn. And that's what you want. So the next time, they have a much better chance at surviving in the wilderness. And that's the point of this video, right? So, I love you. I hope that really does help. I hope you take it in, and trust me, I've been running 2nd edition since 1991. I wouldn't give you bad advice. This is from what I experienced myself. I've used these monsters to teach the game as the designers intended to the players, and it has always worked for me. I know it will work for you.